Afternoon and welcome to the United Stand. This is your Ole Gunnar Solskjaer press conference reaction for the Manchester derby. Lots to talk about. He's given us injury updates. He's feeling confident. He's given us a bit of an insight into the problems with his own tenure, really, again, I think. But he's also, again, I'll give him a shout out at the start. He's acknowledged the fact that when you are Manchester United manager, you know, the pressure is part of the role. Again, he was asked that question about how you're coping with the stress and the pressure, Ollie. Well, this is what Manchester United manager is all about, isn't it? But sorry I'm a little bit late. I was just getting into a bit of a debate on a group chat there about our coaches. And I want to give a shout out to Aaron O'Brien, who was having a bit of a chat with this morning. And he said, I really liked what you were talking about this morning about Jose Mourinho and how there's not a massive difference between where we were 3 years ago and where we are now. There's a lot of echoes. But he came out with a great point, which, before I get into Ollie's press conference, I think this deserves front of house. It's a really good point. He said that Manchester United, so Jose Mourinho finished second. We went into the summer, Rui Faria left, who'd been with Mourinho for most of his career. And they replaced Rui Faria with Michael Carrick. And I think McKenna was there as well. And obviously it all went to shit. Mourinho got sacked and the same coaches are still working with Ollie. And I don't think it's necessarily to say Carrick and McKenna aren't very good. You can make your own mind up about that. But, you know, Mourinho did lose Rui Faria. He was given Carrick and McKenna. He got the sack. They stayed and then were given to Ollie. And we're still crap. So, you know, the question marks are certainly there. But I'd forgotten about that. I always thought Mourinho fell on his sword, got it wrong, and he did. But I forgot, Rui Faria left that summer and it all went really, really, really bad. It was going bad anyway, but it went really bad. And the people who coached with him are still at that football club. Simon Stone still wants to know what impact Ronaldo has had on our team. What a waste of a question. Useless press conference before a big derby, says Pranay. Well, I'm very glad that Pranay's done that super chat and actually offered up that point straight away. Because what I would say is this is the problem with United at the moment. I normally enjoy the press conferences and there's a couple of bits in there. But, you know, considering this is a Manchester derby and we've had press conferences for teams like bloody Newcastle that are really interesting with good questions, I think what United have done is they've just diluted. They've basically said, you're not asking this, you're not asking this, you're not asking this, you're not asking this. Because the press conferences have gone shit the last couple of weeks. Ever since that Liverpool game, it's gone crap. There's no questions about Pogba. There's nothing about Van der Beek. There's nothing about Sancho. It is so tame. Now, I don't know. We don't get asked in. We're never going to get asked in. I'm not bothered about that. But these journalists are better than this. And the questions they are asking are timid. And this, you know, what are we, a football club or a dictatorship? Because, you know what? Just don't do press conferences if you're not going to ask difficult questions. Like, we're Manchester United. There's loads of fans around the world and they deserve the proper questions to be asked. Why can the manager not be asked difficult questions? Mourinho was, Van Gaal was. Just crap questions again, to be honest with you. So, you know, there we go. But Ollie seemed quite confident. I watched the preview for the City game with Ian Wright. Actually ripped into Ollie and lack of tactics. Shame we can't get this from ex-United players, says Aram. I think the problem with Manchester United at the moment is, and Liverpool were mentioned a lot, so let's get into the press conference, is that since that Liverpool game, there is this, I would describe it as fog over Old Trafford. It's very unclear. Nobody knows really what's going on. No one can see what the plan is. And really, he should have gone after the Liverpool game. And I'm not going to mention that again because, you know, a lot of people think that. He should have gone and we should be into a new phase. Look at what Spurs did, what Chelsea did a year ago. This is where we should be. And it's like, well, that hasn't happened, but the same people are still here. And it's basically popped a bubble. It's popped the bubble of enthusiasm because everyone's like, wouldn't it be great if Ollie turned this around? But let's get real. You know, and there is that sort of flat feeling around the club. And basically, it's Ollie, a few people on the board and the players going, we believe in this project. But unfortunately, millions of other people, whether it's fans, rivals, pundits, just do not see this working. And I think the excitement's gone out of United. It's sad. I saw somebody today saying, you know, I'm fed up of this feeling of wanting United to win but wanting Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to get sacked. And that what a line that is. Because that is basically how a lot of people feel. They want United to win, but they want Ollie to go. And it's, you know, that is a contradiction in itself. But many of us can't do what some people are doing and going, well, I hope we lose tomorrow so Ollie gets the sack. I just can't do that. I think you lose something as a fan when you want your team to win. I want us to win, but I don't believe in this coach or his coaching staff. And I'll repeat that again. It's not just Ollie I want gone. I want Carrick gone, I want McKenna gone, I want Phelan gone, I want a complete clearing of the house, and that's probably why it won't happen. A few years ago, United Stan was in the presses right before lockdown. Did you all have to get questions approved? Says Carl. No, they was the Europa League. We used to, because to get questions asked in the Premier League, you have to go through the Premier League to get a press pass. But in Europe, it's different. So some of the away games, we used to be able to get in. You could get a pass. And no, they didn't. Actually, you could have asked any question you wanted, really. It's just, respect. If you're in there, you can't just go, Ollie, why are you so shit? That would be appallingly disrespectful and abusive. But, you could you can ask a question, yeah. Babyface assassin is assassinating players' careers, says Trey Jones. Well, look, let's get into the press conference anyway. Make sure you smash a like on the video. So, first of all, let's start off with the injuries. He spoke about Varane. He said Varane will be out for 4 to 5 weeks from the scans and the technology they've got. It will be 4 to 5 weeks. 4 to 5, not 45, bloody hell, from the scans and everything. He says it's a blow, but Eric was excellent when we used him, and it just shows that you need having a big squad's important. Contradiction number 1, you don't use your squad very often, but we do have a squad, and that's what it's there for. Correct me if I'm wrong, but if he's out for 4 weeks, he misses the Chelsea game. I think we play Chelsea this month. I think we might play Arsenal this month, so I think he misses the Chelsea and Arsenal game unless we rush him back again. I think he might be back for the Arsenal game. Arsenal's early December, but he would be out of the Chelsea game, so be interesting with that. He also said that Lindelof is a doubt. Hopefully he'll be ready tomorrow. I expect him to be back tomorrow, but I can't promise anything at the moment. That basically means Lindelof's injured and we're going to play him injured. But I mean, reading between the lines, if a player is a doubt and they're going to wait and see if he's ready tomorrow, but he expects him to play tomorrow, that's another, are you all right to play for me, Victor? Yes, I'll play for you, Ollie. I mean, he's clearly not fully fit, is he? He's not going to go to bed tonight doubtful and wake up in the morning and go like a spring chicken. Way, I'm all right, I'm fine. He's obviously carrying something. Mark, Zidane is the manager we need, says Dull. I agree with you. His class is a commercial goldmine. I hope Ronaldo can influence him to come. That was from Duel. Leng and Sweet says Phil Foden clear of Greenwood, you're going to get smashed 5-0. Will there be another Xander on the street video after the City game? Was interesting to see. Match-going fans are turning on Ollie now too, says Aram. Yep, that will be part of the channel. And Zizou would not work in my opinion. His style was quite defensive and relied on Ronaldo to save him. We need to have a manager based on style. Noah, I would suggest you go and watch some bloody football, mate. Why have you spent $5 to out yourself as an idiot? I feel sorry. Can we get a whip round for Noah? Not a whip round, because I feel bad. I'm going to refund that super chat. I feel bad that you've put a super chat in to expose yourself as basically saying that Zidane was a one-man team and parked the bus. What are you talking about? Like, do your bloody homework on the lad before you start talking about him. Zidane parked the bus and was a one-man team. It wasn't a one-man team. It was a bloody brilliant team. It had the best midfield 3 in the world for 3 years. He had the best centre-back pairing in the world. At least say he relied on, superstars. You can't call it a one-man team. Come on. What about Phil Jones? Why can't he play? We'll move on, says from Real New. And it wouldn't surprise me if we turn up tomorrow and get the win, but that doesn't change my mind on how I feel about the current setup at United, says Tom Y. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm looking forward to the show tonight. I've got a couple of Guinnesses in the cellar. I'm going to have one before the show. 8 o'clock tonight. We've not done one in a while. Q&A. Let's blast into it. So, Noah knows I'm only taking the piss anyway, but, it's all about, I've got no problem with Noah saying that. That's the great thing about our community. We can have a bit of a chat and a bit of banter. That's what it's all about. Anyway, let's get into Ollie's press conference. So, we've spoken about Lindelof. Clearly, he's not fully fit, but probably will play. Varane will not play. He was asked about, the Liverpool day was the darkest day. Ollie described it as a darkest day. How are you feeling going into this Manchester City game? He said, well, we've moved on. It's in the history books, but we've had a good week and we've got a positive mindset. Look, what's he supposed to say in those circumstances? That Liverpool game, he has to move on as a manager. He's got to move the story on. I get that. He acknowledges it's in the history books. We've had a good week. There's a positive mindset. So, there we go. There's not got too many problems with that. There was a question about Ronaldo I'm going to come back to in a moment. But there was something I wanted to just talk about here. Here we go. This was it. He was asked about Pep Guardiola, and he said, they said that you've got a good head-to-head record with Pep Guardiola. Of course he has. Ollie's got hair, Pep's got no hair. Why do you have to bring the hair into it? Why people are picking on Pep because he's bald? Why are they asking him a question like that? You've got a good head-to-head record against Pep. Of course he has. It's bloody baldest. What are they picking on Pep for? Because he's bald and Ollie's got hair. You've got a good head-to-head record. That's bloody disgusting. I'm fed up of bald people being picked on. It's bloody a joke. But in seriousness, they're talking about their results. I hope he goes for most Ollie-style team and gets shown how bad he is. I also hope we beat them. It's hard time at the moment, says Mark. And would you take Moyes back? No, Luke. I hated having David Moyes in charge of Manchester United. And Noah's back again. He says, I did watch him. Go watch his games. Yes, I did. I think most of the world watched Zidane's Real Madrid play, Noah. You were not the only one. It wasn't like a game down the park where you stood there with your dog. So I have watched him like everybody else. Yes, he had world-class players, but his style was not dominate play. Look at the stats and possession. Ten Hag in. So basically, Noah's outed himself. He wants Ten Hag. That's fine. Don't knock Zidane. You're talking out your arse about Zidane. Just say you'd prefer Ten Hag because you've outed yourself at the end there and it's took you $10 to do it. But thanks, Noah. Always appreciate it. Anyway, he was asked about Pep's head-to-head record, and he said, look, I don't talk about what I've done. Yeah, because he's not really done much, Ollie, to be fair. Pep's done a lot more. He's got them shiny silver things, that's what the club's meant to be about. But joking aside, he said, I've got a big respect against Pep, but we do need a performance. We have to trust and believe ourselves. We've had a good few results. What? We've had a good few results? What are you talking about? Few means 3 or more. We've only won one game against the shit Spurs team and scammed Atalanta. I mean, what's he talking about? We've had a good few results. Unless he's talking about a good few results against City, in which case, what's he talking about that for? Because it's irrelevant. But I think he was more talking about we've had a good few results because he kept talking about we've had a good week. But maybe give him the benefit of the doubt there. But I think he was talking about this week. Opinion on Varane and Bay is the long-term partnership, says David Matthews. Well, David, it's an interesting point. Probably bring it in on the Friday show, Friday night show. But at the end of the day, Bay and Varane won't be playing together until at least Christmas. So by then, hopefully we'll... I like this. Bold lives matters, says Abhijith. Yeah, I could have been bold. It's in my family, but I'm not. That's why I touch my hair a lot, just to make sure it's still there. But anyway, let's move on. So this was the most interesting question, I think. He was asked this question. You're under constant pressure at Manchester United since the Liverpool game, and there's constant speculation about your future. What about your future after the Derby game? And he said, well, I came into this job in December 2018, and there's been speculation ever since. That's a big hint, Ollie. That's a big hint. I came into the job in December 2018, 3 years ago, and there's been speculation ever since. That might be a big hint about whether you're suitable for this job, Mark, I've been on a Goldbridge Marathon lately. Just want to let you know that your comedic timing is so great. Love all the content, says Kane. Thank you very much. And Stephen, says Vect. There we go. Don't know what that's all about, but there we go. But no, you know what? I think sometimes Ollie does answer questions that for you. I don't think Ollie's out of tune with what's actually going on at United. He did say in that same thing that you can't expect an easy ride being a Manchester United manager. It is what it is. Basically, you're going to get the pressure. But in answering that question, he does say when I came in 2018. There's been constant speculation ever since. Well, yeah, of course there has, because there is no, there's been constant speculation because there's been constant people thinking he's not good enough for the job, to be honest. And I'm very late to saying that, but even when I was Ollie in, it was constant. He's right. Last year, after Istanbul, the year before, in late November when we played Spurs and Man City, and people were saying if he loses those he's gone, and he won them both. The following January when we lost to Burnley, again now that's 4 times. I think there's been 5 or 6 times Ollie's job's been really questioned, and yet he's still here. He needs to stop talking about finishing second, says Nate H. How much investment do you think the team will need next year, considering a lot of players will move on with a new manager, says Tommy Dowling. You know what, I think that's the contrast between this season and next season. purposely have that hoodie with Last Dance on it because it wasn't a piss take. I really feel that this season was the perfect last dance. Ronaldo comes in, it's Pogba's last year, it's Cavani's last year, it's probably Martial's last year, Van der Beek's last year, Tellez's last year, maybe Bailly's last year, Lingard's last year. The squad used correctly was very good, apart from the midfield, which Ollie chose not to improve on. So I felt that this was a last dance, and I think we're heading towards a very turbulent summer. I think the only thing that can rescue it from being a turbulent summer is bringing in a new manager now that changes things around, because people won't wait around next summer. Is it just me, or when Ollie answers any kind of question, it's the exactly same answer but recorded? We've moved on and had a great week. The fact that our club is a ticking time bomb is scary, says Akil. I think all the excitement's gone out of the club. I think all the enthusiasm's gone out of the club, and I think that people can say speak for yourself, but if you go and watch the cinema tonight and it's a crap film, or you go and watch a stand-up and he's rubbish, the excitement's gone out of the club because the club has done that on purpose. They want to make you emotionless, because if they feed your emotion, they know the only emotion around there is frustration and anger. So they try and just make it boring, because if it's boring, people will go, but at least they're not getting any stick. They've taken the excitement out of this season because they've blown it, basically. We were meant to be in a title race in April, as Ollie said. We're out of a title race at the start of November. Well, start of October, really. Bailly saved us against Atalanta. He has to be played against City. I'm sure he will, Yosh. I think we'll play a back five. Never imagined a world where Arteta would be better than Ollie as a manager. Even he has won a trophy, says Rasnul. And hi Mark, I love you and all the United Stand crew. You tweeted about someone mentioning about the Glazers and not being incompetent. What's your say? Will we ever win a trophy, says Nidawan. Look, I think a couple of things really, because we've still got to talk about what Ollie's spoken about in this press conference. But a couple of things really. First of all, if we draw against Man City and Chelsea win, we would be 9 points off the top, because they will be. Actually, we'll be. Wait a minute. We're 8 points off them at the moment. If they win, it'll be 10 points off the top if we draw tomorrow. And that, people can talk about, we drew with City. I don't know what people are talking about tomorrow, like a draw's an amazing result. Why are we focused on City? City aren't doing well. They've lost a couple of games. You ask a City fan, they've not had a great start to the season, and all they're clinging on to is they didn't start the season that well last year, and then they hit forming around Christmas time. But if we draw tomorrow and Chelsea beat Burnley, we're 10 points off the top of the league. Put that in your pipe and smoke it, and tell me that a draw is a good result. We need to win tomorrow. It's not a draw. It's a win game. We've got to win. It's not the minute you start obsessing about a Manchester derby is the minute you become a small club. This is what Man City used to do to us 20 years ago. Oh, it's Man United. It's the biggest game of the season. Because it was your season. Our expectation at the start of the season was to be in a title race. That should still be the expectation. So we've got to win tomorrow. And if we don't win tomorrow, questions should be asked as to why we're 10 points off the top of the league. And then the second thing I was going to say is that we are hurtling towards a really bad summer. A really bad, expensive summer, because you're going to lose Pogba, Van der Beek, Cavani, Martial, Bailly, Tellez, Lingard probably as well. We're going to lose a lot of players that will need replacing. At least 2 or 3 of them will need replacing anyway. And the only way of stopping that is bringing in a new coach, because a new coach will revitalise that squad, make some of the unhappy good players happy again, and we might be able to salvage this. But this season was only going to be good if we were good. If it went wrong, it's a real mess. And that's what I detect. It's a real mess. And I don't know whether the club can see what's going to happen next summer if they just keep chugging along with what's going on. We need a bloody miracle to get out of this situation. Basically, it's not impossible, but we need a miracle. If Solskjaer's going to still be in charge in the summer and it's going to go well, we need to bloody win the Champions League or the league. And we need a miracle, don't we? Let's hope it happens. Like it or not, Mark, we're an underdog team with world-class players. That's what we are, says Red Baron. Well, I don't like it, but you're right. Of course you're right. Anyway, there was I mean, look, the quality of the questions were not particularly good. There was a question asked of him, is this derby now a bigger game than the Liverpool game? Not in relation to this season. The question was, is this Manchester derby game bigger than when we play Liverpool? I mean, why ask that question? You could have asked him what's the name of his dog. What you're thinking about getting your wife for Christmas. When was the last time you washed your car? But you decided to ask, Is the Manchester derby now bigger than Liverpool? I mean, look, know your lane. The Manchester United versus Liverpool game is and has been for a very long time the biggest game in the calendar for Liverpool and for Manchester United. Yes, Liverpool-Everton's big. Yes, Manchester United-Man City is big. But Manchester United against Liverpool is the big game and has been for decades. Why would Manchester City against Man United now take precedence over Liverpool? I mean, I've almost felt sorry for Ollie to have to answer that. I was like, why is Man City versus Man United now bigger than Liverpool? Why? So Ollie just said it's a special one and moved on, really, which I felt was fine. He was also asked about Ronaldo. This was really interesting. I think it was Simon Stone who asked this. Now, I like Simon Stone. I think he's a good journalist, and I think he was maybe phrasing this as a... I don't think it was from him. I think it was an observation question. I think some people getting on his back saying, why would he ask it? But I think to be fair, he's probably phrasing the question quite well, because you do hear it. And what he said is, Ronaldo's had a good season for you, but there's still people out there that think he's had a negative impact on the team. Ollie just said, well, look, he's one of the best players to ever walk the planet, which is spot on. And on and off the field, he's been immense. Which, to me, is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer acknowledging what we all know. Cristiano Ronaldo is why Ollie's still in a job. On and off the field. It's not just what he does on the field, it's what he does off the field. Training, as a captain, as a leader. I mean, he should have the captain's armband. It's only respect to Harry Maguire, which, to be honest, I sort of agree with. If you take the captaincy off Harry Maguire, you know how the press works. They'll be going, oh, look, they've took it off Harry Maguire. Blah, blah, blah. They'll make a big... I think if Ollie could just... take it off Harry Maguire and give it to Ronaldo, and Harry would be happy, and I think he would do it. But to take it off Harry Maguire, there'd be such a big deal made of it. But mate, he's not only the captain, he's also bordering on being the manager, let's be honest. And people say that's disrespectful, but you can't say that Ollie and his coaches aren't that good and then say that Ronaldo's not really like the manager, because Ronaldo's played under Sir Alex, he's played under so many big coaches. He's a leader in himself. And he will be a leader in the dressing room, and he will be a leader in training, and he will be a leader in that football club. And you know what? As a Manchester United fan, and I'm sure I speak for all Manchester United fans here, who are these people talking about Cristiano Ronaldo having a negative impact on our team? If you want to know who's having an impact on our team, speak to our fans. I ain't interested in bloody ex-players of other clubs or fans of other clubs saying, you know what, Ronaldo's had a negative impact on that United team. Bullshit. Absolute bullshit. He's not had a negative impact on this team. This team's been playing this way for a long time. Ronaldo's actually made us better, and Ronaldo is the reason we, Ollie's still here. He's Saving Private Solskjaer. If you've seen the poster with pictures of Ronaldo and De Gea and Bruno and somebody else. Mike, I think Ollie will pick Maguire and Lindelof and bench Bay. He blows my mind how he keeps dropping Bay for them pair, says Gareth. If Ollie would play football he's been promising us and lose, I don't think I would be as bad. False promises and bad coaching took me a long Ollie out, says Alex. And that Bay performance was more than a 9 out of 10. It was vindication for Jadon, Donny, Jesse, Ahmad and others who don't play. We have arguably the second best bench, second team, and he only chooses the same 14 players, says Carl Rayner. You know what, Carl? I was thinking about this the other week. I actually think United's second 11 could beat the first 11. Now, that's unfair on people like Ronaldo and Bruno and De Gea and a few others. But you know what? United's second 11 is Henderson, Tellez, Bailly, Lindelof if Varane's fit, Delo. Your midfield 2 would be Matic and Donny. Your number 10 would be Lingard. Your left-hand side, you could put Martial there. Your right-hand side, you could put Sancho there. And up front, you'd probably have Cavani. Or you could put Martial up front and you could play Ahmad off the left or something like that. They'd give him a bloody good game anyway, wouldn't they? They would give him a game. I really do. I think they would. But, we will see what happens with that. So, spoke about Ronaldo. I mean, we also spoke about the team meal. You've seen the picture of the team meal this week, and Ollie said it's team bonding, team is close, and they need each other. Which is absolutely fine. No problem with that. And ultimately, that was pretty much it. That was pretty much it from the press conference. It was a really poor press conference. And I must go back to what I said. This is definitely done on purpose. Definitely done on purpose. I haven't heard Samuel Luckhurst ask a question for a long time either. I've not heard Manchester Evening News ask a question in the press conference. Now, I hate it when people say Manchester Evening News tweet, because they've got it's hard. What's their Twitter account? Well, all I can see is man beaten over the head after refusing to hand over his keys in terrifying carjacking. That's not the tweet, is it? So, can you give us the actual... Don't just put MEN tweet. Tell me what the actual @ is and I'll read it. Because Nick's saying, Mark, MEN news tweet. Yeah, man's been hit over the head in a bloody carjacking. Hope he's well. What's the Twitter and I'll read it. We're trying to find out live on air. I love it. I love all this. What's their bloody... Okay, I've got it now. Let's have a look. Exciting. It's exciting. Live breaking news. Slow Sport Skullbridge. Here he is. Slow Sport Skullbridge. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Got it. Found it. Bruno Fernandez defends the job Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is doing at Manchester United. Is that it? Is that the thing you wanted me to read? Okay, so Bruno Fernandez has made a spirited defence of the job Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is doing at Manchester United, saying that players also share responsibility for the team's performance. He said that he's a great person. Oh, why? This is the... You know what? I love Bruno. I love Ole. But why? It's like... Remember when Ole used to speak about... when he speaks about McTominay and Fred... And he says passion, trust, desire. It's never passing ability, reading of the game, assists and goals. It's always about their personality. So why is Bruno, when he's talking about the manager... You know what? I used to do this for a living, reading what people really mean when they talk. And when somebody's asked about a manager and they say, he's a great, great person, and I think everyone knows the human part of him. That's the first thing he's talking about his manager. Because that's basically what Ole is. He's a nice guy. Why are you not talking about his tactics? I think it's normal people get upset about the results, but it's easy to blame it on the coach. We go on the pitch, we should do better. With the second place last season, no one is expecting us to do a really good season like we did. It was not as good as we want, but it was a good season after all. What? With the second place last season, no one was expecting us to do like we did. No one's expecting us to finish second. Okay, top 4 probably, but not second and be the most close one. For me, overall, he's doing a really good job, and it's been a big improvement on the team since he arrived. We're still dropping points at home, and it's not good enough, and we know that. But it's not only the coach's fault. File that under irrelevant, Bruno, my mate. I don't think that is actually backing the manager. I don't know what anybody else thinks, but I don't think that's a very strong backing of the manager. I really don't, Samuel Lucas has been getting on Ollie's bad side recently, though. Now he doesn't ask questions, suspects, as Red Baron. And Mark, have you noticed how it's his new young players he doesn't trust? Ronaldo, Cavani, Varane, Bruno all came in at over 25, under 25, Donny, Sancho and Ahmad. Yeah, because he needs the players for now. I think Ollie came into the club talking about youth and development, but he needs players now because that's what happens when your job's in danger. You've got no time to develop. We are at the end of the day, no matter what anybody thinks, we are surviving game to game like we were last season. This happened exactly the same time last year. We lost to Istanbul. His job was in danger, and every game after that, it was just survive, 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 and he did. But unfortunately, we never move past survival mode with Ollie. It's always survive, 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 which is why he never develops players and he never really rotates because he's got to use the players he can trust. Ollie in. Come on, you Gunners, says let's have a discussion. Do we have so many attackers for the Super League, says Angus. I am going to be playing on FIFA, at 3 o'clock. Goldbridge Twitch TV, Goldbridge TV on Twitch. It was a nightmare yesterday. I'm scared. I see a lot of Man United fans don't like Zidane being good coach. They're forgetting that Zidane took a team like Real Madrid that Rafa Benitez made a mess of, and Zidane turned it into one of the best teams. He's a great coach, Mustafa. He's a great coach. And Gustav says the only way I see Ollie leaving is when the players eventually grow a pair and realise that their future is in jeopardy, says Gustav. Look, the players can do what they want. I've got no problem with any of the players. I mean, I think some of them aren't good enough, but I don't... let's just talk about Bruno Fernandez there. So Bruno Fernandez has come out and said, Ollie's a nice guy and it's not all his fault. The players have got to take some responsibility as well. That is an irrelevant interview. There is nothing in there that teaches us something. Players back coach. Wow. Coach is a nice guy. We know. Where's the talking about your tactics, your formations, you know, your philosophy, your targets, your expectations for this season. I'll go back to what I said. I don't think Bruno's developed under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I think he's the same player he was at Sporting Lisbon, a very good player that should have developed further under a good coach. Same with Mason Greenwood, same with Marcus Rashford. Do I think the players are responsible for some of the bad performances? No, I don't. I thought hopefully not Man City. I thought Leicester and Liverpool were very clearly down to the coaching, the positioning of the players, the tactics, the formation. We were an absolute shambles. And anybody who knows anything about football knows that. I don't blame the players. You know what? I would liken Leicester and Liverpool to going to war against an army that's got real guns and you're going to war with wooden ones. You know, that was what it was like. You can't blame the soldiers in that battle when they haven't got the tools to do it. So, you know, Bruno Fernandez backing the manager, he's probably been asked a question directly about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. What was the question he was asked to give that quote? Because if it's like, are the players behind the manager, what's he going to say? No, we don't really. We're just doing it for socials. We don't really believe in him, but you know, hopefully we'll have a change soon. Players are going to back the manager. Players were backing Mourinho when everybody knew privately that they hadn't. But United are like that. You know, I don't blame any of the players. I said this a couple of weeks ago. I don't blame the players. I can say they've had a bad performance, but I think sometimes those bad performances are inflicted on them by bad tactics. And as I said, if we brought a new manager in the international break, Scott McTominay, Fred, Harry Maguire, players that I think have been really bad this season, I would give them a clean slate and say, now, let's see what you do under a proper coach. So I haven't got a problem with the players. And I think players getting the blame for anything, I don't think so. Under Van Gaal, under Mourinho at times, I thought some of the players need to take a long, hard look at themselves. But there's not many in that United team that do need to do that. I don't think there's a lack of efforts. I think there's just a lack of quality in their direction and what they're being told to do. There you go. Season's far from over, says SL. Well, it is and it isn't. I think the season is far from over if you bring in a new coach. But I think if we stick with what we've got, unless we get the miracle, and you know, miracles don't really happen in football over 7 months. Unless we get the miracle, I think it's going to be a very disappointing season. 2-1 United, Ronaldo in the last minutes, is Patrick Kelly. Look, I just hope we can win tomorrow because the international break is either going to be one of three things. We're going to win and we're going to have a bit of bounce going into the international break. We're going to draw, which I think will be the worst result in relation to our mood over the international break because we'll be 10 points off the top and there'll be no change. Or we're going to lose and the club might finally do something that needs to happen. Happy New Year, says Tej. Wishing you, your family and the community love and prosperity for the year ahead. Thanks very much, mate. Anyway, I'm going to shoot off because I've got to go and set up for FIFA at 3 o'clock on Goldbridge Twitch. Make sure you watch that. And hi Mark, any chance of Donny and Jaden starting? No chance, Mikael Roach. We'll play a back five. The board believe Ollie is making steady progress and I can see Ollie going into next season with them saying this season was a simple bump in the road to the long-term progress, says Ren H. I mean, I don't see a long term at Manchester United. I really don't. I think to have a long term future under this coach, we need to buy another 5 players. I don't see a long. I mean, that's a great question. What's the long term vision under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer? Because we've become so short term. What is the long term? De Gea in goal, Wan-Bissaka, Maguire, Varane, Shaw, McTominay and Fred, Bruno, Rashford, Ronaldo, and Sancho off the right. That team ain't going to win a league title, is it? It's not, but that's the team that Ollie probably would like to put out. It's not good enough. Like, it isn't good enough. This is why we need to change the direction. That team I've just named to you isn't going to win a league, unfortunately. Anyway, that's just an opinion. I might be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. Thanks everyone for watching. Smash a like, subscribe, bottom right hand corner. Remember, if you want to get your Christmas jumpers in, I know a lot of people have been ordering them this morning because the guy who does it has been telling me. The link's in the chat. We do ship worldwide, but get your orders in early for your Christmas stuff or whatever jumpers you want. The links are in the chat because there will be a bit of a delay as the closer and closer we get to Christmas. Thanks everyone for watching. I'm back at 8 o'clock tonight with we're going to go a bit Q&A style tonight as well. So looking forward to it ahead of the derby. Speak to you all in a bit. Thanks for watching.